To many early Western visitors, they added an exciting and exotic flavour to the life of the city.
Europeans had always been fascinated by the Muslim character of the Ottoman Empire. They are never really seen by West Europeans as European. Muslims, however westernized, however urbanized, however much they speak West European languages, belong to a different culture and civilization. And that, I think, is constant throughout the period, and no doubt for many people it's true today as well.
Leon's autochromes depict lives that were apparently untouched by conflict. But some reveal that in reality, this was a city under siege.
Salonika in 1913 was full of soldiers because, although the Ottomans had been pushed out, the war wasn't over. And there are substantial contingents of Greek soldiers and Bulgarian soldiers roaming the city. And when you look at the photographs that look down over the city from the fort at the top down to the bay, you'll see the bay is full of warships as well. So this is a city at war. It's not a city at peace.
After their victory over the Ottomans, both Greece and Bulgaria claimed Salonika as rightfully theirs. But as these pictures show, it was the Greek forces that prevailed.
These are Cretan soldiers, and they belong to the Greek army who occupied Salonika. Cretan soldiers are dressed in a different costume than other Greek soldiers because it is their own costume. It is the local Cretan's costume, and even today they are wearing the same trousers in Crete.
The Greeks controlled the city for the next 30 years. Under their rule, the population of Salonika would change out of all recognition.
When you look at photographs of the city in the spring and summer of 1913, you are in fact seeing a world that is about to disappear. We know what its future will be. Its future will be Greek. And in the space of 10 years, the whole of the Muslim population will have left. In another 20 or 30 years, the entire Jewish population of the city will also have gone.
4 years after these photographs were taken, fires spread through the center of Salonika. Many of its ancient buildings, including the Jewish quarter, were destroyed. After Salonika, Brun and Leon traveled inland towards Upper Macedonia. Home to a diverse array of ethnic groups, Brun believed that this area would shape the future of the Balkans. Brun later wrote,
"It seems that different groups of people have mixed together to form a population where there is more confusion between the races than anywhere else. Everyone lays claim to their part, and this is where the greatest struggle takes place."
Ottoman Macedonia at this time was home to a number of different populations. There were Turks,
Orthodox Christians, Slav-speaking, Bulgarian-speaking,
Albanians, Serbs, Bulgarians,
Turkish-speaking Muslims,
Vlachs, Gypsies.
It was really very complex, very complex.
The pictures show that Macedonia was home to nationals from throughout the Ottoman Empire, including people from as far away as North Africa. But within this complex mosaic, one nationality is conspicuously absent. In Macedonia, few describe themselves as Macedonian. Most people had no conception of what it meant to belong to a Macedonian nation.
They were not very much concerned about nationalism or national identities. They had their religion and their Their world was just their village. They never traveled away from their village, so they had no knowledge of the outside world.
In Leon's autochromes, which are the earliest known colour pictures of Macedonia, the details offer subtle indications of allegiance and identity.
A dimension of life that the photographs provide, which is missing from a lot of the other accounts from the time, is a picture of what rural life looked like. The particular clothing that you wore sent signals about your religion, possibly your village, certainly your social standing, and the images give us a little piece of that.
Dress was an important marker of identity. In earlier times, in the Empire, as in Western Europe, there had been dress codes. Different faiths were supposed to stick to different colours, of shoes, for instance, or of turbans in order to identify themselves. And something of that tradition remained.
What's
important about these photographs is that they show the different regional characteristics and the regional identity of these people. That's very important at this time, because there was no overall national identity in Macedonia.
At the time of their visit, most tenant farmers were Christians. Often they were forced to yield a large proportion of their crops to Muslim landowners.
As you can see from some of the photographs, this kind of farming was very undeveloped and very unmechanized. Farmers were tilling the land with wooden single-handed plows. It was very difficult, but that was the only way for them to survive.
After the Ottoman defeat in the First Balkan War, Macedonia was occupied by Greek, Serbian or Bulgarian armies. The culture and traditions of these people was now under threat.
One of the things they're contending with on a very immediate basis is, what is the value of the contract to farm this land that I just signed with the Turkish landowner? Whose land is this now? They don't know the answers to any of these questions. What we see is, in the pictures, is apparently people trying to get on with their lives. But at the same time, the enormity of what has happened must have struck some of them.
The issue of national identity became increasingly important as the Serbs, Bulgarians and Greeks vied to win support from the territory's diverse populations.
In that period, we saw state-sponsored paramilitary groups from Greece, Serbia and Bulgaria, as well as indigenous armed groups from within Macedonia, all competing to try and establish a basis of national loyalty among this village population.
The Christians of Macedonia started to split along national lines as religious leaders vied to win the hearts and minds of the people.
Имаме огромен број случаи во кои што покажуваат како половина од селото.
There are documents which show that half of the villagers went to a Serbian church and half of the villagers went to a Bulgarian church. It resulted in a situation where two brothers would say that they are different nationalities. One of them would call himself Bulgarian, and the other brother would call himself Serbian.
And so, week in, week out, what people faced is stark choices when a band of this type came to your village. It could be a matter of life and death, what your answer to the question of, what are you really, was.
Jean Brun and Auguste Léon left the Balkans in May 1913, just 2 weeks before the argument over how to divide up Macedonia erupted into war.